Hi everyone! In today's video, we are going to practice looking at different types of functions, specifically honing in on using a table to evaluate. What we have been doing in the past is we started off with evaluating equations, and then recently we've been working on evaluating giving a graph. And now what happens if you have all three? And where are we looking when it's on a table? So after this mini video lesson, please complete Delta Math 10. You have until the end of the class period to complete it, but if you need more time, it will lock at 11:59 p.m., so be sure to get it done and submitted by then. Let's hop into it. So here's our first example. You can see that we have a graph g of x. It's really important to pay extra close attention to the labels. So the graph is g. The equation is f of x equals 3x squared plus 6x minus 1. Looks kind of crazy. And h of x is in the table. Okay, so we have three different representations. We have the graph on the left, the equation on the right, and the whole table of x and y values for h. So sometimes they try and trick us and see what we're looking for. Notice that the directions say find h of 3. So if I'm going to find h of 3, that means when x is equal to 3, what is y equal to? The cool thing about this is you just go to the table and you literally look in the x column, which is all of these values, and you find x is 3, which is right here. So if x is 3, then y is over here in the y column. H of x, remember, that means output, y. So y is just 1. Cool. Our next problem says find h of -7. H of -7. Again, I specifically am asking about the table. Again, since there's parentheses on the inside, that means x equals -7. So I just look in the x column. The x column, that's all of these in here, and I found -7. So if I have -7 for the input, the output would be -6. Our next example, again, we have h of x as a graph, we have g of x as an equation, and we have f of x as a table. Here, I wanted us to kind of review and use all methods to find different inputs and outputs. So we're starting with find f of 4 and f of 0. What this requires is you need to look where is the f function, and you'll notice that that's here in the table. So for f of 4, remember that means x is 4. Here it is. We just want the y. That's -3. Our next problem says find f of 0. Again, that's still in our table because the table is labeled f of x. So if I want to find f of 0, when I have x is equal to 0, it's in the parentheses, I can find my output of being 3 just by looking in the y portion of the table. I also asked us to find g of 2. G means we're going to have to use the function g, which is the equation. So g of 2 means we would plug it into our equation, much like we did on review on Wednesday, as well as what we started this unit out with. So replace the equation with -2 parentheses plus 1, and plug in 2 for x. This would give us -4 plus 1, which ultimately gives us -3. Last thing is I said to find h of -2. H is our graph. When x, our input, is -2, what is y? So we start at the origin. Since x is -2, you go left 2 units and go down to the graph. So down 2 and look down to the graph, and that's right here. Y is equal to -3, or h of -2 gives us -3. That was a little tricky because I combined all three of the ideas, but I think it was a good review. We know how to evaluate with an equation. We've been working with evaluate given a graph, and now we know how to evaluate with a table. Here's our very last example. You can see F is a graph, G is an equation, and H is a table. It says to find H of -1. So you notice that this table has H of X. H of -1, there's -1 in the parentheses, so that's X. Find it in the table and look for the corresponding Y. H of -1 is equal to -10. Now that we've practiced this, please go and complete your Delta Math 10.